The players are in fact ready. And knowing that we are playing life gain versus damage this round, I say we get into the action as soon as possible.
If you're going to take life gain, do you know what? For fun, I'm going to take damage. You can get a lot of lands in your hand with that Loam Seismic Assault combo.
You can get a lot of white cards in your hand with that that life gain combo.
Yeah, and bring Martyr back over and over and over again. That is a dangerous loop. All right. Starting hands. Oh, Luna has the engine immediately. At the beginning of the game, we could go see a turn 2 Seismic Assault and then we start loaming.
That is very true. It does look like Saffron won the die roll, which will allow them to have defensive measures in place. Oh, it does look like there was a mulligan though, because the hand did change. I thought that was a pretty decent start. It had a solitude. It had a reprieve. I guess I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm kind of a sucker to a counter a spell draw card.
Yeah, Reprieve is basically the 2024 version of Remand. Remand is back, but in
Right.
white.
And I was completely wrong on who went first. I was going off of the icons of mulliganing, and that makes a lot more sense. So Luna is on the play with a turn 1 Regavan, which is, Modern's more tame plays, if you'd ask me.
Yeah, something to that effect. So now the thing is, if you let a Ragavan run away with the game, they run away with the game. Like you deal damage, you get the treasure token, you can play off your opponent's deck. Saffron Olive is going to have been an awkward spot where he doesn't really want to play his Martyr of Sands and block. I mean, you want to get some value out of this Martyr of Sands, but that also then means that he's got to let the Ragavan through.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Now there is that option of using Solitude to deal with a Regavan, but in an early game, I could see just trading 1-for-1 with a Martyr. In a matchup like this, though, Martyr turn 1 is extremely vulnerable to things like Ren and 6 or Lightning Bolt. Even an Inti's ability gets the Regavan bigger than the Martyr of Sands, which would allow for the trigger. So it's not really going to be that highly effective of a spell.
That's right. That's right. I was also thinking, I mean, if you even Solitude the Ragavan, then you don't have so many white cards in your hand to actually get any sort of engine going with your Martyr of Sands.
It's true, but I always feel like step 1 is deal with Regavan, step 2 is try to figure the rest out.
I completely agree with that. I must stop a Ragavan at all costs. So let's see if Saffron Olive agrees.
Yeah, and we're gonna see development on Luna's side, having some really cool plays actually. Inti able to discard life from the Loam can start that engine up. So that's a really cool 2-card combo in my opinion. Now we might not see that on turn 2 with no defenses for the Regavan. So we'll see what happens on this turn. And it does feel like Saffron will just be deploying one of these Solitudes just to make sure that Regavan doesn't run away with the game early. Because if Saffron's allowed to develop his board, then that's going to be the key victory point.
Curious to know what Luna's going to do with her turn to keep developing the board with Inti or slam a Seismic Assault and then start going for this engine.
We leave with we're going to see a Solitude come down, take care of this Regavan, and then the decision point is, probably to continue applying pressure, finding, Saffron Mulligan just had a 2-for-1 in the opposite way. So getting that Inti down to start generating value makes a lot of sense. So if the top card is a land or the exile card's a land, then not going to miss any land drops, but that life from them will make sure that even if turn 3 lands are missed, that no future land drops will be.
Right, right. What sage you drawn for the turn?
Most likely going to see life from their own discarded. Or maybe it's Boseiju and then casting life from the Loam
Yep.
on 2 lands. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, life from the Loam is the exiled card, so free spell right there.
Free value. All right, here we go. This is the name of the deck.
Yeah, trying to develop up to 3 red sources to get that Seismic Assault into play, and a second ring. Uh, if a fourth land isn't drawn, that's a lot of trouble for Saffron. We'll
Also,
see.
problem that none of these ring cards are white for Martyr of Sand, so Saffron is opting to keep the Solitude in hand with Martyr, and then just going to bank completely on this one ring when he finds that fourth land drop.
So you're telling me that the One Ring is not white? I can't really tell by the art Saffron chose to play.
Yeah, the wild, crazy art where you can barely read it.
All right. Chose to take a natural draw over Loaming. Or okay, all right. So discarding that Presagio once again. Now up to a 4/4.
Gonna swing in for 4 damage. This clock is uh getting aggressive here.
It is, and now could even theoretically deploy that Presagio if there was a reason. Oh, perfect timing on that fourth land to get a ring down.
But fortunately for Luna, if she starts building up enough lands into her hand and keeps discarding them with Seismic Assault, I don't think it's gonna matter too much because you can start throwing uh, tons of lands for 2 damage by next turn. You only get protection this one turn.
Yeah, rings create effectively a half rotation
Mhm.
protection. But then you have to start asking yourself on what both decks look like at critical mass. And I did not come prepared for effective wanting to do that math. Um just that seems quite challenging in the sense that there's going to be a handful of white cards and there's going to be looping lands with life from the loams and how much critical mass you can get with that and forgotten caves and developing um, uh, a mana base. I don't actually know who wins in those scenarios, but if multiple martyrs are going off at the same time, I think that would edge there. I mean, maybe it just comes down to decking. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope chat can actually help us because someone's got to be an expert.
We are in a complete unknown territory here. This is literally the dual deck of damage versus life gain, and we're seeing it play out for the first time for everybody. Okay, Ren and Six, go get a land.
Yeah, and then that'll help develop the board, and Life from the Loam will be able to pick up 3 lands.
Hmm.
And then odds are we'll see a Seismic Assault getting deployed here soon. But the issue with Seismic Assault is it's not really clearing the board, so it's effectively the fireball, right? It's
Right.
only
Hmm.
important in play if it's actually doing something at critical mass. Otherwise, it's potentially at risk of getting Skyclave apparitioned. So I could see just keeping that in hand until the perfect time.
I'm just thinking of all these types of these engines where, like, if I'm not mistaken, you could put 3 cards in your hand, shoot them all at your opponent, then like cycle a Forgotten Cave, then put the Loam back in your hand, replay it, and get like more lands, and then reshoot it at your opponent.
I apologize. You must not have been listening to me. I said that we weren't going to do complex math.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm just familiar with the interaction. I didn't say I was going to count any damage around here.
Yeah, that's exactly what could happen. So with a
Math is for the martyr player.
math is for the mart. I can guarantee Saffron's not doing any math.
Well, this has turned around completely. All right, the One Ring, just a few activations. Now his hand is completely loaded with white cards for the Martyr of Sand. So it looks like things are going to turn around very quickly, and the life gain might actually completely outrace the damage that you take from the One Ring.
You are exactly correct. From my professional vantage point, I would say that this is a runaway already.
Hmm.
Deploying a second ring is interesting instead of getting that martyr down.
Being very, very patient with his engine, just like Luna's patient with her engine.
Well, no,
Engines.
this is actually very scary because Luna might have the win if a Loam is really good.
Oh, you're
So
right. Yeah, on his turn.
yeah, and there's no
Mhm.
creature in play on Saffron's side for that solitude to gain life. So if
Right.
this Loam hits two, no, the seismic assault can come down. No, but the seismic assault can't shoot now because of the ring protection.
Are
If
there any lands in the graveyard? There's
no,
one land maybe? There's a Scalding Tarn.
it's one sure. Actually, a cycle could re-up and try to hit two. The Forgotten Cave can cycle and try to hit a two land pile, and that would be enough because no, yes, because the Ren and Six can return a land.
Right. We need Seismic Assault in play first. Like, that's a must. So that'll take
Yes,
up 3 mana.
and it's effectively a free roll with the Ren because the Ren can pick up a land and play it.
Mhm. Alright, so we're gonna attack not for the damage, but for the bit of a looting effect, or I don't know what to call this effect.
Uh,
The
I,
Inti effect.
yeah, the NT effect's great. I always called it rummaging, but it's not
Ah,
technically
yes.
rummaging
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
All right, so I think it's Cycle, Forgotten Cave, Dredge, Life from the Loam, hope to hit two lands.
Right, yeah, that could work. So
Here it is.
we're gonna take our chances here. Delighted Halfling, exiled, that's useless for
So,
Luna.
oh, you only had to hit one land because the cave was in the graveyard. Only one land had to be hit, and Luna whiffed on it.
Oh, no! We only have 8 damage, and the
Because
One Ring has well, let's see what Saffron Olive does with the One Ring, if he's gonna activate it at all. He activates it once, he goes to 8.
yeah, not
Smart, does not
activating.
do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that is something.
So close yet so far. Alright, now it's Saffron Olive's turn. Here is the name of the deck right here, Martyr of Sands. The 1/1 can be sacked and gain, what is it, 3 life for every white card in your hand?
That is true. Yeah. So this will jump Saffron up to 24, allowing for more ring activations and quite a few lands off from actually hitting that the sky runes. I forgot the actual, is it Amiria that's in play? Which allows for creatures to come back into player permanents,
Yeah, right.
but quite a
Goes
few
back.
away.
Mhm.
All right, so this will get another martyr. I assume so. And the option Saffron has is to go get the Haywire Might to blow up the Seismic Assault, or just to get another martyr and just try to churn.
Yep, life gain
And
time.
all right, yeah. So it's just Luna was one land away.
Yeah, from just winning on the absolute spot.
I wonder, was playing the land from hand the decider, because the Inti did find a Boseiju, and I believe that Boseiju stayed in exile.
Mhm.
So 24 is not 9. So
Well, what that means is this Seismic Assault Loam deck has to get to work big time. So now we get to find out exactly if this is completely unhinged, how much damage does this deck possibly make? And every single time you discard a card, you do get an Inti trigger.
Yeah, that is something actually. And yeah, Chad is reminding me that that Passagia was played from Exile. So
Okay.
Luna's playing tight. I'm commentating loose. That's kind of the usual, you know,
Oh, it's
for
so
me in
much
the last few
easier from
years.
the commentator box. So much
Yeah,
easier. It's not our life that's on the line.
yet.
Yeah, yet.
All right, so now we're in draw step. Got back a life from the loam. I mean, is there a possibility here? Because like life from the loam will be able to take down the ranger.
Yeah, and you attack for some obscene amount of damage. And how many cards can we discard this turn? What, 6?
Yeah,
At
that
least?
doesn't get counters on NT, but it does create multiple, like finding lightning bolts.
Yeah, uh-huh.
A ranger would be able to get sacked, so those lightning bolts won't be able to get cast. Wait, is the math already solved? Is this lethal and I'm just not paying enough attention? Oh
Remember,
yeah,
the
it's
math is
nine
for
nine.
blockers.
Oh, you have to play around the ranger sacking so the loams can no longer get cast. Um, then at any point when the ranger sacks, then that means that the NT gets to attack. I think this might just be lethal.
This is amazing. There's absolutely flabbergasting.
Yeah, so now has the Ren been activated?
I don't think so. It's still at 5.
I'm curious what's
Oh, I thought maybe we could have shot down the ranger. Oh no, we can. Oh,
oh
there's
we can return no, we can return the cycling land cycle, get the loan back, and if Ranger ever
right.
oh, but
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
solitude that's going to get in that way. I
Ooh.
like how we're
Smart.
just running into how the game is played way later than the players
Yeah.
are.
The players have it all figured out already.
I
We're
feel
just
like we
catching
have
up.
missed multiple beats.
No, 100%.
All right, so yeah, so at this point, this is where the Ranger should get sacked,
Hmm.
and that's going to stop the loam from getting cast.
Hmm.
Oh, but the lightning bolt in response. Is there a second lightning bolt?
I'm gonna love 1.
Oh, the land coming back from Ren is going to be lethal. Yes, yes, yes. We got there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Perfectly played, just how I set it up, just how I assumed
Yeah.
the game was going to play out. All right, so now we're seeing sideboarding. Not the way I thought game one was going to go, but yeah, that was a very powerful turn. I'm kind of afraid of playing against this.
I'm telling you, that Seismic Assault Loam engine, if it's completely unhinged, it can deal an obscene amount of damage. And in this case, it actually outpowered the life gain deck.
Yeah, neat. And we go back to theoretically the second ring turn. I felt like that turn was not something that Saffron had time for.
Right. Okay.
And maybe that was the turn that needed to get life gain, and then
Mhm.
the next turn Ranger creates more life gain. But honestly, that with the amount of output that we saw on that turn, I feel like that is just, you know, as the game goes on, it's going to deal 9 damage for each 2 mana, or 6 damage, excuse me, for each 2 mana. That's
Right.
very powerful.
Mhm. Right. So how have we sideboarded for this matchup?
I believe that we take the bad cards out and put the good cards in.
That's a solid
That's
plan.
why y'all brought me in here, right? For that astute observation. Uh, in all actuality, we're gonna bring interaction in from the white side, just cleaning up different removal spells. So cards like March of the Otherworldly Light are going to come in to help deal with these cheap interactive spells. And on the other side, we have Pick Your Poison
Mhm.
to help clean up any rings that might be taking over the game.
Also can deal with the enchantment.
Yes, yeah, Abiding Grace.
Yeah, Abiding Grace. Also potentially temporary lockdown as well.
All right, so what we're seeing here is Saffron having an interactive but non-velocity engine style hand, where Luna has pressure but also the One Ring. And I believe that we won't see the One Ring live for that long with that Haywire Might, but just being able to get some card advantage going is going to be key, especially against a Martyr deck that doesn't have any of their engines ready to go.
Mhm. What's funny is both these decks, one trying to gain a lot of life, the other one trying to deal a lot of damage, both are playing the One Ring to just draw an obscene amount of cards and go over top of their opponent.
If you had to give my One Ring deck a descriptor of aggro control, what would it be? Because I too am playing the One Ring, but I don't know why.
I think you're a little bit more aggro. A Reality Smasher, that deals a lot of damage.
Have you ever cast a Reality Smasher in the last 4 years?
No.
It blocks a lot. Stays home on defense quite often. You're usually at around 9 or 8 life trying to stabilize, and it's usually not effective either.
So the question is it a mid-range deck or a control deck?
It's a deck.
Yeah, it's a deck.
It's
It's a
a
win. It's a
passion.
ring deck.
As you would know, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lifestyle.
It's not as easily marketable as Merfolk, though. Most people dislike you for being an Eldrazi Tron player, even though you are far worse than most decks in the field.
Or if you just have the Tron lands. Well, Urza's Tower. Well, this game started off with a Ragavan that got easily eaten up by a March of Otherworldly Light, and now both players just sort of figuring things out here. Luna
Yeah,
sort of out of gas, waiting for her third land drop, and then Saffron Olive maybe just waiting to play the One Ring.
yeah, that's it. Drawing the ring was definitely great for Saffron, especially since he has answers to Luna's, and Luna's does not have answers to Saffron's, and so that might be a big part of this game. Now we're seeing these Scrylands or Surveil lands coming into effect into this format, which is really awesome. We're seeing a fetch and Surveil with a land go to the graveyard, it seems, or maybe not.
Yeah, the fetch lands just got more powerful. If they weren't powerful before, now they can surveil.
And are we going to see Seismic Assault coming down, getting into play as quickly as possible? It does look that way.
Yes. I'm really impressed with how Saffron Olive is so patient with Martyr of Sands in both games. He's basically sandbagging it for the right moment when there's enough white cards in hand to get a really good payoff. Because of course, if he just ran it out here, he would like get no value out of it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you have to get used to in this format with Orcish Bowmaster and Renin 6, especially Renin 6 in this matchup, is you just have to wait until it's a 2 mana gain life spell.
Hmm.
All right, so one ring comes down, gets that protection, and I believe we'll see another ring on the other side.
Gonna be the ring mirror.
Oh, we're not. We're going to see a development turn with getting a bunch of lands with Life from the Loam. This does make sense because now that Forgotten Cave can cycle to get Loam back in hand.
Mhm.
And I don't believe there is a true forest. So without a true forest in deck, uh, there's no way for that Field of Ruins to turn into a green source. And so that Seismic Assault is going to stick around unless a natural green source is drawn.
Mhm.
All right, so fifth land, Abiding Grace, and Martyr of Sands. We are starting to see the soft lock getting into place.
Yeah, Abide in Grace, which will bring Martyr of Sands back every single turn. Effectively, I guess, what are we looking at? Maybe somewhere between like 7 to 9 white cards, depending on how much Saffron Olive is going to sandbag in hand. But again, also well, the big problem is for every card in hand Saffron Olive has, you can gain 3 life, whereas every card Luna has in hand, the lands, can only deal 2 damage. Although Luna can put a ton more. I think Luna can put a ton more cards in her hand through Life of the Loam than Saffron Olive can sandbag in hand, unless like the One Ring is just going to completely go over the top of that.
Yeah, there's a theoretical unique side to the math, but effectively every 3 lands for Luna will generate 6 damage.
Hmm.
And so I don't think that'll scale with a ring drawing a lot of cards each turn and developing lands and putting other threats into play. And more importantly, if Saffron's drawing a lot of cards with the ring, eventually answers to seismic assaults are going to be found. And so
Right.
we're kind of in an arms race where Luna currently doesn't have the development, the real estate in play to get where she needs to go, and Saffron's going to draw a ton of extra cards. Now, keep in mind, these Urza Sagas in play are going to be able to go find Haywire Mites and be the answer we all needed to the One Ring. And there it is. There is
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, that's going to take out the Seismic Assault, and go to Plan B, which is potentially Construct Beatdown.
He needs a land, right? Oh no, no, he doesn't. He has 2 white sources in play. 2 white sources for that Skyclave apparition.
Yeah, three
Yeah.
if you count the planes. All right, yeah, going to get a large amount of life, just so much life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 3, 24.
Yeah, that seems like the amount of life my mom wanted me to get when I told her I started playing Magic. All right, so Skyfall Operation comes down, takes care of Seismic Assault, and I believe we're going to see a Construct. This doesn't work. Yeah,
Does that
this
mean
is
this
just
thing's gonna get exiled for forever? Yeah, we didn't get a
well,
3/3 illusion.
yeah, it'll always get exiled, but there's no 3/3 illusion. But this does mean that the Constructs are going to be able to start attacking.
Mhm.
But it does feel like this game is just going the way of the life gain.
Right. Game 2 goes to life gain. Or so far. Saffron Olive can thank the One Ring for that. Drawing 6 cards so far this game.
Yeah, and just having just a wealth of options in hand, right? Like the ability to go find additional resources,
Mhm.
recursive elements, removal spells. I mean, once the deck starts going, it's very difficult to beat up because it's going to stop Luna from finding any traction.
Now, Luna does draw another Seismic Assault, so she can try to attempt to get the engine back online, but, I mean, she's gonna be pretty tapped out for this turn, and she won't be able to develop her engine any longer.
So we'll probably see this attack and the ring taken down now to avoid further damage from draw all this card advantage.
Oh, yeah, true story.
And then just going to cycle now. Yeah, and then odds are, yeah, it's correct to keep getting those dual lands. And the reason for that is just because there's only a mountain and forest for basics in Luna's deck. And when it comes to seeing 2 Field of the Ruins, you don't want, and open deck lists, you don't want to let your opponent know that those might eventually turn into strip mines.
Now, Luna's deck does have a forest and a mountain in it, but one forest is in her hand. Is the mountain in her graveyard? Nope, but we have the mountain in play. So that's it. Like the next Field of Ruin just eats up lands, I believe.
Exactly. So if that forest ends up coming into play, that tells Saffron, oh, this, if I ever have time to build a Runa land, it's gone for good.
Hmm.
All right. Temporary lockdown taking Regavan and the other Urza Saga dealt with. So what what happens now? I feel like this would be a good time to, yeah, cast that Life from the Loam, get some lands back, and then potentially play that One Ring, because that Seismic Assault is not too close. But yeah, just keep getting those Urza Sagas into play, generating value through that.
As the times start winding down, I'm wondering if the clock is going to play into a matchup like this. It always does with a deck with a lot of triggers like Martyr Control, but Saffron's actually up on time.
Yeah, that could definitely play a significant role in this match. Um, Specifically, if we go to a game 3 and Saffron takes a huge life gain advantage, um, that's the worst place for Luna. So the strategy could be to try to start playing faster. But both decks need so many clicks, and Luna's in particular is a lot more click heavy.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Well, Saffron is going to get revenge playing his own Haywire Might on a one ring, one interaction for another.
And here's the Abiding Grace. And there's the Martyr of Sand. So gets to re-up on life gain when needed.
Now, Abiding Grace says you can return target creature card with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield, which actually means this Haywire Might can eat up this Seismic Assault if necessary.
I thought you were going to go with this Haywire Might is going to go haywire.
Oh,
But
well, it's going to do that too.
I see you brought your professional game.
Oh, I got my content creator game. Always
Yeah.
100%.
All right. So life gain up to 60. And Amiria is still what, too short? I think you need 7 planes for Amiria the Sky Ruin to start activating, and that's why that Fill the Room might want to turn into a planes as soon as possible. But
Right.
Skyclave is going to come down, take care of Seismic Assault, and that is going to make this game quite difficult. Because all cylinders are pointing towards Saffron having the engine, right? Like the Skyclaves and the Haywire Mites. The recursiveness of Haywire Might is going to allow to take care of any of these cards that are coming in.
Hmm.
I could have even seen just not even casting the Skyclave apparition and letting Abiding Grace deal with that,
Right.
since we haven't seen a Boseiju yet. And if Boseiju did happen, then you'd still have time to cast it.
Another Martyr of Sands found off the Ranger Captain of Eos.
I can't believe Saffron Olive would bring such a spiky deck to the MTGO Masters.
And it turns out it's incredibly well positioned.
Oh,
Ranger Captain of
it's
Eos.
so good against us this week.
Actually nice to see Ranger Captain Vios. This card is incredibly good. I mean, it's card advantage. It gets like any 1 mana card from your deck, uh, or the creature card at least. And you can also interact with your opponent's spells because you can sacrifice it and they cannot cast non-creature spells for the turn.
Yeah, it's a very well-rounded card that gives power back to the creature strategies. I've liked it ever since I've seen it. I eh, maybe that's something that I should have played. I really did like the Collected Company combo decks that were based around Ranger. Uh, whatever version you want to cut it up. I like the Devoted Druid versions. I like the Life Gain versions.
Devoted Druid, nice, clean, easy, fast wins.
And so we see a Thraben Inspector. No, what are we? All right, so there's the field. That's going to remove the land. Get Saffron one land closer to recurring things with Amaria. And I've been bringing that card up a lot. Can we put that on screen so everyone can read it, including myself?
Emeria the Sky Ruin enters the battlefield tapped. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Also taps for a single white mana.
That once we get to 6 planes, that's going to make this game even more difficult. But if we're talking about time is now way closer. And Luna might be playing a lot of this game out because that's happening, right? So they're both in the 8-minute mark.
Mhm. I mean, if I were Luna, I'd probably would play it out for Saffron Olive to beat me because I need to get the time a lot closer than it was before. And the onus is on Saffron Olive anyway to win the game. So you can just F6 through a lot of turns over and over and over again.
I do like how this matchup is evolving as Luna looks at endurance and Saffron looks at the stone brain.
Yeah. They're learning. They're
Yeah,
learning what's really important in this matchup.
we're gonna go long.
It's a cute way of dealing with the graveyard synergies. Yeah, you go play your endurance. But
It
we'll just be
reminds me of a team tournament I played last year with my brother, and I was the pioneer seat, and I told him I would play test a lot, but I didn't really have enough time to, and so I get into round one in a mono green devotion mirror, and my opponent in game one starts going off,
Mhm.
comboing, and they just say a bunch of words and say, "Are we good?" And I just look at them, I'm like, "No, I'd like you to play it out for me."
Yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
looked extremely frustrated as I sat there and just took notes. Like I was
Mhm.
like, okay, so that's how my deck works.
Mhm.
That's how I stone brain them. Okay, I didn't really understand that part. All right, so cutting down on the rings, trying to say we need to be a little bit more aggressive.
Mhm.
And I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, I am afraid of running out of gas because Saffron has so many answers to seismic assault that I feel like having rings to deploy first to try to generate card advantage might be one of the stronger ways that I can stay in the game.
Maybe she just thinks Saffron just has way too much interaction between, Haywire Might, also Haywire Might being found by the Ranger Captain, Skyclave Apparition, that this is just, might not just be a clunky card that just gets answered for one draw anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of those things. And
Not
all right,
like, it's not like the One Ring is gonna protect her from all this damage Saffron Olive's doing.
all right, we have Ragavan's most hated adversary, which is the Thraben Inspector.
Oh, yes, the Inspector. Alright, Monkey, what's in your pockets?
Those pockets are bone dry because there will not be any looting. No, no getting through that Inspector. All right, and Martyr of Sands and also a March. So Luna needs to find some sort of engine as soon as possible, whether that's Life from the Loam or Ren or just something to start generating value. Oh, wow, that was great. Being able to put a Forgotten Cave in the graveyard means any Loam found will now have half that engine ready.
Yep.
And this Seismic Assault will force some interaction, whether that's a March on Regavan or a Solitude.
Ragavan thought, "There's gonna be an attack, there shall be no attack for you."
Both creatures have been dealt with. What do we see here? Do you think just throwing Ranger down, potentially going and getting a Haywire Mite?
I would think that. Be better than just passing a turn doing nothing. Saffron, olive, read your mind.
Or I read his.
Oh, yes.
All right, and here we are where Luna's a little flooded, but not in the good way.
Yeah, this is a weird matchup in that you sort of want to be flooded so long as it
You're
lines up
you're
with your opponent.
you're choosing the flooding.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there another surveil land? There's not. So no more surveilling. Hopefully just finding a light from the loam off the top. Oh, and getting that haywire mite out to deal with that seismic assault now means that light from the loam won't even be an engine. Renin 6 would be a good top deck because that starts generating value with that Forgotten Cave. All right, so now that Solitude can just be hardcast to take care of the Inti and have a 3/2 in play. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's where we're at. I mean that those I don't think there's a basic in the graveyard, so those builds and won't be able to remove a land. They'll probably just stick around until an Urza Saga shows up. And just having another Haywire for protection, get that surveil on. Yeah, Luna's down to one or two top decks, but it's even starting. That's a start. No, Haywire might. Yeah, so now I don't see. I mean, I would just throw the martyr out. It's a 2-turn clock. No, in the next two. If you play the martyr now, you can at least attack for 7. But I guess you can deploy that the turn after. Chat is saying that Nikachu's audio has been lost. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much, chat. We appreciate the chat.
I'm very glad that you all let us know that, and it didn't sound like I was just talking to myself in a half-sided conversation. Watching coverage of me talking to someone on the phone.
I gotta see the replay just for that.
All right,
Uh,
so 2-turn clock, life from the loam.
mm-hmm.
That's big.
It's interesting. The Haywire Mite has been distracted by the One Ring, so now the engine is online.
Now this cycle means, you know, you're not going to sack the ranger just to stop the one spell. Yeah, now this can take care of this is a turnaround.
This is the drama you've all been waiting for.
I just can't wait after this just long 3-game set for us to play, and I assume the game's to take 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's exactly how the game is gonna play out.
Yeah.
You win slam and snaring bridge. All right, next game. Let's go.
Oh, wait, so ensnaring bridge is good against you?
Ensnaring bridge is amazing.
What other
Absolutely
notes could you
incredible.
provide?
No, ensnaring bridge is the best.
I
Ensnaring
do have
bridge.
to
If you
jump
can
through
kill
some hoops.
millions of 2-for-1s, that's also good. I mean, 2-for-1 for every single spell that you play, that's also good versus me. Abiding Grace coming back. Which means I could get Haywire Might again?
Yes, that will get Haywire Might and ooh, double up.
Ooh. Could even get a Thraben Inspector. Probably. I don't know if that's the best thing that you can get from the graveyard. Oh, it is.
That there's agreement. Yeah, get back a Haywire Might, deal with that seismic assault.
We get a clue token.
And now, yeah, now Pick Your Poison's only able to take out one of them, so any future seismic assaults are just not going to get there. Yeah, this is coming down to time though. It's time versus the 4 damage. Oh,
3 minutes on the clock for Saffron Olive. 5 for Luna.
so grabbing the life from the loam there was interesting because you have to find. I guess you can cycle and try to draw something that's fair.
Might be banking the block with some construct tokens.
Eventually, but with the two fields, I mean, I guess you just do that because you can cycle anyway and draw
Oh, yeah,
something.
yeah. You're just drawing cards. If you really just wanted to.
But the damage pressure is there, right? It's a 2-turn clock.
I guess she's just preparing for her next turn where she might just try to draw into as much good stuff as she can.
Yeah, I did not expect the life gain deck under the time crunch of dealing damage.
I don't know. Hard cast Eagles.
All right, I need to actually read this card now. Oh, your team gets pumped?
Yeah. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. Ooh, putting Luna down to 1.
This is just a 1-turn window of needing to find. Oh yeah, the Haywire Might taking out that. So let's even if yeah, even if Seismic Assault was drawn. Okay, yeah, and that Ranger is actually going to come down to stop Seismic Assault from being cast. So the only out to get through the turn would be to have to draw the one of Lightning Bolt that's still left in the deck and block with Rigavan. And Bolt, yeah.
That's not going to be enough, and Saffron Olive wins the match. Life gain.
That is not how I thought things were going to go. I did not think Saffron was just going to deliver the beatdowns with time pressure from the clock.